Sig Sauer, one of the leading manufacturers of guns and rifles in the world. As I make this video in April 2011, there's nobody that can contest that. This is an unbiased, true story of how Sig Sauer got on the map, and I'm going to ask this question before I get into my story of how this company became Sig Sauer. The first question is, I got two questions. First question, what country was Sig Sauer incorporated in? I know what you're all thinking. I know everybody's going to say Germany, and I'm telling you, you're all wrong. At least maybe 80% of you said Germany. 20% of you might have said the true answer, which we'll get to. The other question is, what year was Sig Sauer, or actually Sig, as we get into the story, incorporated? How about 1853? Pretty interesting story you're about to hear. I enjoy these informative, educational videos. The viewers come back to me with feedback saying, straight true to this is what we want to hear, we want to learn. So here you are with another great video. What, in my opinion, I've done a lot of research, I hope you appreciate it, on what is Sig Sauer all about and why are they so successful. It just goes to show what bright minds can do. This story is awesome. Let me tell you what's on the table real quick so I can tell you the story, because I got a 15-minute time limit. And gosh, please gosh, subscribe so I can get over this 15 time limit. Alright, here on the left, I pulled a bunch of things out of the safe here. That's a 5.56 rifle. Pretty cool. Sig 5 years ago was only a pistol company. We'll get into that. But this short gas system reduces weight on their 5.56 rifle and their 5.56 SWAT. Pretty sweet. That 5.56 round is potent. Also on the table, oh my gosh, look at that, 1911, just purchased 2 weeks ago in the year 2011 and the 100-year anniversary. Let me zoom in on that baby. You've seen it in previous videos. That's a Sig 1911, possibly one of the nicest 1911s ever made. Love that gun. Back there in the back left is a 22, right? Yeah, that's a 22 P226, full size. Now I use that when I go to the range and I rail out 200-300 rounds. Inexpensive, full-size gun to get me acclimated for the 40 and the 45 calibers. To the right of that is another 22. Have you seen that version of the Mosquito? The two-tone, beautiful, beautiful. That's new for 2010. That came out in the last quarter of 2010. Over here on the right, in the back, is a P232 380. That's a fun little package to shoot at the range, and possibly one of the nicest guns ever built till this date and time is the Equinox series. Oh, I did a video on this when I was new at the channel. I'm gonna redo this gun. It's just so awesome. There's too much to talk about. We're talking about the story of Sig Sauer. This is what's on the table, though. All right, that's a 45, by the way, that Equinox. Okay, let me get a good spot right about there. And I got more signs coming, not just Glock. I got a whole bunch of signs for the background coming. As you can see, I redid the background. I got like 10 or 12 new things for backdrops. I love all companies. I love Beretta. I love them all. Rossi. We're going to be doing so many videos and having so much fun. Let's talk about Sig Sauer, and it is pronounced Sauer. Let's get that straight. Now, here I go on with my history, a little history lesson of Sig Sauer. And this is a cool story because I really didn't realize all this information. I knew most of it, but not all of it. It goes back to 1853. And there was 3 gentlemen in the country of Switzerland, not Germany, Switzerland. That's where this company was formated. Frederick, first names, Frederick, Heinrich, Conrad, these three gentlemen began what they thought would become a very successful wagon factory, like horses and wagons, in the city of Rheinfalls in beautiful Switzerland. And little did they know then that their company would become one of the world's most renowned manufacturers of small arms. And just 7 years after that, that industrial plant started building railway cars. They started making some money. And the three ambitious owners in Switzerland building wagons and railway cars in the 1850s got a challenge. The challenge came from the Switzerland Federal Ministry of Defense. And they told everybody out there, all you people who have bright minds in the mid-1800s, that the Switzerland Federal Ministry of Defense is looking for a state-of-the-art rifle. And back then, the rifles were called muskets. We know what a musket is. It's a muzzle-loaded, smooth-bore long gun. A musket. You know, like the Three Musketeers or a musketman. The musket. Well, guess what? These three gentlemen from Switzerland, Frederick, Heinrich, and Conrad, won that contest, won that bid, and they got an order for 30,000 muzzle-loading muskets. They started making money. Whew, pretty cool, right? This is in Switzerland. And they changed the name of their company from the company that was all related to wagons and railway cars. They called it the Swiss Industrial Company. And in Switzerland, the name company, the word company, is pronounced Gesellschaft. So there you have the G. Swiss Industrial Gesellschaft, or SIG, S-I-G, in Switzerland. They named their company the Swiss Industrial Company, or SIG. Now you fast forward to the 20th century, and I can spend a lot of time on what happened between the 1800s and 1970. I'll tell you a little bit real quick. I mean, they built the SIG P49, the SIG P210. This is all Switzerland now. This is three gentlemen from Switzerland. They developed the P220. They did a lot of things for Switzerland, but an odd thing happened in 1970. And in the early 70s, the Swiss government came up with some fluke law. Have you ever heard of that? Like gun laws changing? Huh? Sound familiar? Well, in Switzerland in the 1970s, all of a sudden they said, all you gun manufacturers, if you want to manufacture guns in Switzerland, you have to partner up with a different country in Europe. Well, it's a strange law. I don't know why they did it, but I'm pretty happy they did, because the three gentlemen from Switzerland were forced to find the brightest minds in Europe to help them develop their firearms division. And they found a German firm, which I knew everybody was telling me probably in the beginning of the video, SIG is from Germany. Well, you're 50% right, kinda, but the company started in Switzerland in the 1800s. And they found a German firm in the early 70s called Sauer and Son, hence the word Sauer. So now all of a sudden the Sig Sauer line of handguns began in 1975 with the Sig Sauer P220. And what's cool is Sauer in Germany was building, prior to meeting these guys in Switzerland, he was already building shotguns and hunting rifles and handguns. And the three guys in Switzerland were building muskets and guns and all the similar types of guns and rifles. And They partnered up because they were forced to due to law. So here we are now in 1985. Sig Arms Inc. was created as the American branch of Sig, S-I-G, the three gentlemen from Switzerland. And they brought over their guns and developed a plant in Tyson's Corner, Virginia to import the P220, the P230. In 1987, Sig Arms Inc. moved to Hendon, Virginia, and in 1990 moved to Exeter, New Hampshire to accommodate new manufacturing. Now I'm talking about state-of-the-art manufacturing, like Microsoft or Google. I mean, like above and beyond at the time of in 1985 of anything else that anyone else had as far as making firearms, in my opinion. I mean, when I'm reading the history on this, it's amazing what they did in such a short period from 85 until now, 2011. I'm about to do a review on Smith, by the way, Smith & Wesson. They have 1,400 employees. Sig Sauer, as we speak today in April 11, has about 400 employees. And what they've done with those 400 employees, the minds, the smartest minds in the world, not taking anything away from Smith, I love Smith, but it's amazing what they've done at this place in Exeter, New Hampshire. They do training there and everything. You can go there yourself and do some training. So now what happened was in 2007, how long ago was that? 4 years? Think about this. Just 4 years ago, they changed their name to Sig Sauer. 48 months ago. And they invested $18 million in their facility I just spoke to you about. That's pretty cool. $18 million in their facility, which is like 10 super Walmarts in one. Just an incredible story on how they went from 1853, three gentlemen in Switzerland who were forced in 1970 because of law that they had to have a foreign European partner. They found someone in Germany named Sauer. Sauer happened to be also coincidentally making guns. They partnered up. They put their bright minds together. It's like an American dream in Europe. And then they brought their European dream to America. And they're in New Hampshire doing it. And it's working pretty well for them. What a wonderful story. Here's some more stats on the company. They're now making .308 rifles. And of course, gosh, their guns are changing by the minute almost. If you're going to buy the P226, the P229, you want to get the E squared with the E with the 2 at the top. E squared models. If you're a smaller human being with smaller hands, male or female, they have smaller grips, custom made now. The P238s, the 380s, they can't even build them fast enough. That's according to Eric von Bossi, one of the executives at Sig Sauer. They can't build the P238s fast enough to keep up with demand. And the quality is there. By the way, the service for Sig is like second to none. I haven't had to experience it, fortunately, but I've had buddies who sent their guns to Sig, and you know what you get back? Your gun fixed plus the free magazine. And you tell them I said so. You tell them straight shooter said so. You get your free magazine if it's a legitimate problem with your gun. In 2005, they were primarily a pistol gun, a pistol factory. And now they're making rifles and .308s. And what more can I say about this company?